welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Alyssa, and today I am doing a much anticipated video, and I am going to be walking through different matchas. So I often purchase my matchas from Amazon, so I thought it would be fun to do a little taste test for you. Since I know a lot of you are maybe not sure where to buy matcha, or maybe you're completely brand new to matcha in general, I think that Amazon is a really great place to start because it has great prices. The thing that's hard about Amazon is that there are literally so many options. So I did some research and I started to kind of compare some brands, and I decided to choose 5 different brands to taste, and I'm going to kind of rate them as we go. So I'm going to rate them on color, I'm going to rate them on quality, I'm going to rate them on taste, and I'm also going to rate them on price. So I have, like I said, 5 different ones, and I'll be walking through the different brands. I will give you my rating, and I'll also taste them for you. So the way that I'm going to taste them is going to be a little bit different than how I traditionally make my matcha latte, because I flavor my matcha lattes with adaptogen powders and also sweetener and also coconut butter, and I think that it can kind of mask the flavor of the real matcha itself. So instead, I'm just going to be eating it plain, not like the powder. I'm going to be mixing it with some hot water like you do the traditional matcha, and then I'll taste that on its own, so I can get a really good sense of how that matcha actually tastes. So all 5 of these are fairly similar in price range. They are, almost all of them are organic. I think 4 out of the 5 of them are organic, and they are all also ceremonial grade. So if you are confused about ceremonial versus culinary grade, I've talked a lot about that in my videos before, but I also mentioned it in my blog post that I launched today. So you can get that by tapping the link that's in the description box below, and that will kind of explain how I make my standard matcha latte, and also it talks a little bit about the benefits of using ceremonial grade in your matcha lattes versus the culinary grade. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into our taste test. The first one we are reviewing is from Kenko Tea. This is certified organic, it's non-GMO, it's a 1 ounce tin. It's grown in the Nishio region of Japan, and it costs $28. So I think that the color of this one is pretty nice. It's pretty vibrant green. It's definitely on the darker side than some of the others, as you'll see. And it whisks up pretty nicely. I think I added a little bit too much matcha here, but it tends to be a little bit clumpy, I have found, if you are making it the traditional way. So I'm going to be tasting our first one, which is the Kenko Tea. You just saw me whisk it all together, so now I'm going to do the taste test on camera and let you know what I think. So this one is definitely a little bit bitter. It definitely doesn't have that strange grassy taste that sometimes matcha can have. It's fairly smooth. It's a little bit bitter. Well, I would say it's definitely bitter. I would definitely want to have this one sweetened. It would be hard for me to drink this one on its own. But overall, I would give it a 4 out of 5. Our second matcha is from Jade Leaf, and this one is also certified organic. It's a 1 ounce tin. It's grown in Uji, Kyoto, Japan, and it costs $25 per tin. The color of this one is not quite as vibrant as you might expect. It's definitely lighter than the previous one, but it isn't that lime green color that you might get from some of the other ones. In terms of blendability, which isn't really something that we rated, but I found that it blended in pretty nicely, and I didn't have any clumps left over. Now for the taste test for number 2, which is the Jade Leaf Matcha Tea. This one I like better. This one is definitely not as bitter. It has a little bit of a sweetness to it. It is very smooth. I could definitely drink this one on my own without any like sweetener or anything like that. It definitely has a little bit of a grassy flavor, but like I said, it's much more mellow in terms of the bitterness. I actually really like this one plain. So I am going to rate this one 4.5 out of 5. Our third matcha is Matcha Konomi. It is also certified organic. It comes in a 1 ounce tin. It's from Uji, Kyoto, Japan, and it costs $25. Color-wise, I find that this one is also pretty vibrant green, similar to the Kenko one, maybe a little bit lighter in hue. But what I found very interesting was that this was a very light feeling texture. So it was very light when you scooped it out, unlike some of the other ones. It blended up pretty easily with water, and I definitely didn't have any clumps left over. Now we have number 3, which is Matcha Konomi. And I don't know if I pronounced that correctly, but this one, as you could tell, is definitely a different color. It's a much lighter matcha when it's mixed with water. So I'm interested to see what it tastes like. I have not tried this one before. Okay, this one definitely tastes to me very similar to the first one. So it's a little bit bitter. I would say that it's not quite as smooth as the first two. Definitely leaving that bitter aftertaste in my mouth. I would say that I would not want to drink this necessarily plain without any of my flavors or sweetener. It's definitely, as I'm like talking, it's definitely leaving a bitter flavor in my mouth. So overall, I think the color is beautiful. The texture was really interesting, but I would rate this one 3.5 out of 5 for taste. Our fourth one is from Do Matcha. This is also certified organic. It comes in a 1-ounce tin. It is grown in Kagoshima, Japan, and it costs $34 per tin. In terms of the color of the Do Matcha, it's definitely very vibrant. It has a really nice bright hue. It's a really great texture. I would say that this is a pretty high quality matcha. I'm just not sure if it's worth the extra $10 over some of the other ones. In terms of blendability, it definitely blends in, but it did take me a little bit longer to get out all of the lumps. All right, we are on to number 4, which is the Do Matcha ceremonial grade. And it definitely took a little bit longer to whisk up to get all of the powder little chunks removed. So I'm interested to see what this one tastes like. This one is definitely the grassiest of the bunch, I would say. It isn't, but not in a bad way. It's kind of a little bit bitter, a little bit more grassy and bright than the others. Definitely leaving a bitter taste on my tongue, but not as bad as the previous one. Doesn't have any sort of sweetness. It is smooth, but I would rate this one a 4 out of 5 in terms of taste. And our last matcha is from Matcha Moon. This one, again, is certified organic. It comes in 1-ounce tin. This one is also from Uji, Kyoto, Japan, and this one costs $25 as well. In terms of color, I would say that this is pretty middle of the road. It's fairly vibrant. It's a little bit on the denser side in terms of texture, and it tends to be also on a little bit of the darker side, I would say. When you blend it up, it actually does blend up pretty easily. It doesn't take too long to get it all nice and smooth, which I really like. All right, so we are on to the last one, which is our Matcha Moon. I have not tasted this one before, so I am excited to see what I think. Let's give it a try. Okay, I like this one. It definitely isn't as bitter as some of the other ones. It does have a smoothness to it that I really like. It is a tiny bit sweet, but not quite as like soft and subtle as the Jade Leaf. I think I could definitely drink this one on its own without having to add sweetness or any of my flavorings. It is really good. I would compare this probably closest with the Jade Leaf. So I'm really liking this one. I think that I would rate it a 4.25, maybe a 4.5 out of 5 for the flavor. All right, so now that you have gotten all of my ratings, I'm going to break it down on the next few slides, like next few seconds. I've taken some photos and some videos of all of the different matchas, so you can get my final reactions to all of them. So for the Kenko tea, I am giving it a 3 for color, a 3 for quality, a 4 for taste, and a 4 for price, which gives us an overall score of 3.5. For the Jade Leaf matcha, I am doing a 3.5 for color, a 4 for quality, 4.5 for taste, and a 5 for price, which leaves us with a 4.25 overall score. For the Konomi matcha, I am doing a 3.5 for color, a 4 for quality, a 3.5 for taste, and a 5 for price, which gives us an overall score of 3.25. For Do Matcha, I am doing a 4.5 for color, a 4 for quality, a 4 for taste, and a 2 for price. That gives us an overall score of 3.6. And then lastly, for Matcha Moon, I am doing a 3.5 for color, a 4 for quality, a 4.25 for taste, and a 5 for price, which gives us an overall score of 4.2. I definitely will say that my favorite of the bunch is the Jade Leaf. I definitely think that that one is one that I could drink on its own pretty much daily without feeling like I needed to add any sort of sweetness or anything like that. I will tell you, all of the others are definitely high enough quality to use for your matcha lattes, because if you're adding things like pumpkin pie spice or adaptogen powders, a sweetener, anything like that, these are definitely going to taste delicious inside of your matcha latte. So I don't think that you can really go wrong with any of them. It's more that if you're looking for one to just drink by itself, then I would definitely go with the Jade Leaf, because I found that it had the highest quality in terms of taste, and it was also a pretty good value. So I will link all of the individual matcha tins for you in the description box below, of course. If you have not yet made my traditional everyday matcha latte, I will link that post for you in the description box below as well. I have given you a step-by-step photo tutorial of how I create it, talked about the powders that I add to it, the flavorings, the sweetener, the coconut butter, why I add coconut butter. So it's a really comprehensive how-to post. I think you guys would really enjoy it. I would also love to know if you have any favorite matcha brands that you personally love that I have not included on this list. I realized that I only included 5, which isn't that many in terms of how many are on Amazon, because there's like probably hundreds, but I also didn't want to spend $1 bajillion filming this video, so I chose my top 5 favorites, the ones that sounded the best to me and the ones that I felt were in a reasonable price range. So yes, matcha is expensive. A little goes a long way, so it should last you at least an entire month. Honestly, I would argue that it is just as expensive, if not less expensive, than a high quality everyday coffee habit. I don't know about you guys, but Matt goes through a bag of coffee in about a week and a half, so I'm resupplying him, and I'm definitely spending at least $25 to $30 a month on coffee. So thank you guys so much for watching. I would love for you to give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed this type of video. If there are any other types of products you want me to review or taste, let me know, and I will add those to my list. If you haven't subscribed to the channel already, there's a red button right below this video. It says subscribe. You can tap that button. It will automatically subscribe you. I am here every Tuesday and Friday sharing new videos, so I will see you again on Friday with another brand new video. But in the meantime, there is tons of videos, like I think over 100 at this point, maybe even 200, for you to browse through and watch if you feel like getting into some good, healthy food content. So thanks so much for being here, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!